she doesn't say it, but I'm going to say it for her. She's calling everyone in this photo out. Okay? Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals. What a video we have for today. I'm really excited for it. Before we get into the topic, I do want to say, if you'd love to join these lovely people here on the side of the screen, I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on Twitch, which is totally free to join. It doesn't cost you any money, but you can come hang out live and talk to me. We have a ton of great conversations. It's a lot of fun. So again, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Alrighty, so today's video, we are going to be talking about the YouTuber, or talking about a video from the YouTuber, Hey It's Juliana, and the title of this video, which is why I became interested in it, is 13 weight loss tips that changed my life. So when I first heard this title, or when I first saw the title, I was like, oh God, right? Here we go. Here's another one of these videos. But I was pleasantly surprised, and I think I have a lot to add, and I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised as well.
Yes, carrot cake.
What are you doing? But it fits my macros.
I've got 13 weight loss tips that help me lose the 45 pounds that I gained while I was pregnant amid a global pandemic. Turns out something like 46% of Americans gain an average of 29 pounds during the pandemic. So if you fall in that
I don't know how true that is, but that's a lot. 29 pounds? Whew.
camp with me, you're not alone. Quick backstory, I kind of was the type of girl that would drink my weight in apple martinis and then polish it off at 2 a.m. with Whataburger. Whataburger. True story. It was close to my apartment. But I used these strategies here today to get pretty shredded for my wedding in 2015, turn pro in 2 federations as a natural bikini competitor, and win my pro debut in 2016, and I've maintained a relatively lean physique ever since. I am a girl who loves food, and I've learned over the years that you don't have to make the whole weight loss process suck. So let's get into the tips. Tip number 1.
So this is, I really like that at the very beginning, right? So it's all about not making the weight loss process suck, which a lot of people will say that, but then at the same time, they will literally give you tips that will make weight loss suck really bad. And so I'm always very weary of when people make these videos, because they're always like, oh yeah, this is super easy. Just don't eat this. Don't ever have this. Do this. And it's like, I don't know about this.
Master making your favorite foods for less calories. This is what the fitness influencers are talking about when they say, it's a lifestyle, guys. That's what they're saying here. No joke, there is a way to make every single food you love for less calories. You can
Greg Doucette has entered the chat.
make pizza that's typically 1,000 calories for like 300 calories if you're into that froyo life. 0% Greek yogurt. I like to use Fabergé because it's thick. She's thick. I legit eat 20 ounces of this every night. I sprinkle some Splenda in it. Top it with...
So, and then right here, one thing that I like, again, is that something personally to me that I think is important is not demonizing like sweeteners, like Splenda, Sweet and Low, all these things. Like, so many people like to be like, yeah, lose weight, blah, blah, but you're not allowed to have this, you can't have that, you can't have anything that might make losing weight a little bit more, like a little bit easier and a little bit like more enjoyable for you. You can't have, like, you can't have sweetener. Everything has to taste bland. You can't have diet soda. You can't have low calorie drinks. You can't have, it's all of these things that make losing weight so much easier. A lot of people will make these weight loss videos and talk about how you're not allowed to have these things.
Some Walden Farm pancake syrup. This crap is 0 calories. Put some Oreos in it, put some berries in it, nuts, whatever you like, and you've got yourself a homemade froyo bowl. If you like ice cream, consider going from like a Ben & Jerry's or a Haagen-Dazs ice cream to trying some Halo Top ice cream. Peanut butter is one of my favorites. Chocolate chip cookie dough is another good flavor from Halo Top. I legit crushed both of these last night. I saved the bottle for you. Oh.
So something that I do is almost every night, this is not something I've talked about often, but almost every night I have a low calorie ice cream thing, whether it's like Halo Top or Enlightened or like the Target brand. I love having those things. It really helps me a lot.
If you like pasta or spaghetti, you can use spaghetti squash. This stuff is easier to cook than actual spaghetti. You just poke some holes in it, pop it in the microwave for 6 to 8 minutes, flip sides and microwave it again for another 6 to 8 minutes, cut it open, use a fork, kind of scrape it out, and you've got yourself spaghetti.
I'm going to be honest, personally for me, I think biscotti squash is disgusting. I cannot stand that stuff. Ugh, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I've tried it many times, and every time I'm like, much rather have regular spaghetti, please.
In the salads, Boathouse Farms dressings.
So this right here is a really, really good, this is something that's so important. Dressings, sauces, things that you add to your meals they can add so many calories, right? Like that's 150 calories for one serving, and a lot of times people are using more than one serving. Or sauces that you're putting in your food, like just be smart and choose and you can even find ones that are lower calorie than even 40 calories per serving, right? But this is 40 calories per serving really isn't bad.
Cilantro avocado flavor is my favorite. I put this crap on everything. If you're into peanut butter, you can save 110 calories per serving just switching to powdered peanut butter instead. The trick.
So this is also a good advice. I personally can't stand how those powdered peanut butters taste, but one thing that's important is I think with peanut butter, it has what I like to call and what has been like coined as like the health halo. So people will see peanut butter and they're like, oh, peanut butter is healthy, so therefore you can have peanut butter. And people don't even think like peanut butter is very dense in calories. That doesn't mean that it's bad, but it's very dense in calories. So you have to be careful and be smart about how much you are using, because it's a lot of calories for a spoonful. And people will be like making stuff and then they'll have a spoonful of peanut butter and they don't think to themselves, that was probably 200 calories. They're just like, like 20 calories. I'm not saying don't eat peanut butter. I eat peanut butter almost every day, but you just have to be smart about it.
Is to add a packet of Splenda or stevia to it and just add the right amount of water to get a good consistency. My favorite is PB Fit. Tip number 2, learn how to make vegetables taste good and then add them to as many meals as you want. I am the queen of making vegetables taste good, and there's tons of ways to do them. One of the things I'm doing right now is I'll take broccoli and I will spray it.
I like that it's frozen broccoli. Dude, nothing wrong with frozen vegetables, okay?
With like whatever oil you want. And I'll sprinkle it with this black truffle sea salt. You can get some black truffle sea salt on Amazon. Pop it in the microwave, 350 for like 20 minutes, and you've got yourself some really delicious and expensive tasting broccoli. When dieting, I'll legit eat almost a whole pound of vegetables a day, which only ends up being about 150 calories.
So this is what I like to call volume eating. So I think a lot of people, they almost get scared when they see a big amount of food in front of them and they're trying to lose weight. And so they think they have to eat just rice and chicken and a little bit of vegetables. Like you can make in a bunch of vegetables that will add a ton of volume, that's not going to add a ton of calories, that will actually make you feel full. You don't always have to eat these small portions, right? It's just be smart about the things that you are adding to the volume. If you think about volume eating and you're like, yeah, I'll just add a bunch of volume of like rice or noodles, then maybe that's not the best idea, right? But like adding volume in low calorie things like vegetables or even like berries from like fruits and stuff like that, those things are going to not have many calories but also fill up your stomach, so you won't feel like you're always super hungry and you're like always depriving yourself, right?
This way I feel full and I'm less likely to overeat on things that will keep me from losing fat. Okay, so tip number 3 is I just spit. When eating out, practice something called balance. When I go out to eat, I like to have a good time. I like to have a few drinks, I like to sample a few appetizers, and I love to get dessert. What I like to do for that is I like to have my entree be more protein, vegetable focused. I'll gravitate to things like chicken or cod and some vegetables, and then that way I can have a little bit more fun without going over my calories too much. So tip number 4 is learn from tracking calories and weighing your food. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Hear me out for a second. Don't click off. Now you might be thinking, but Juliana, my favorite fitness influencer said it's all about intuitive eating.
I love this part of the video. It's so good.
Look, pretty much 99.9% of the fitness influencers with actually a legitimately good physique all spent months, if not years, tracking their calories and weighing their food.
Facts. And she's calling all. She doesn't say it, but I'm gonna say it for her. She's calling everyone in this photo out. Okay, I'm just kidding. I don't know if she's actually doing that, but this is so true, and this is what frustrates me so much when people say just eat intuitively, that they themselves spent years tracking their calories and macros with if it fits your macros or MyFitnessPal or whatever it is that they used. They spent years doing this. And then now when people are coming to them being like, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to have a physique like yours, they're like, oh, just eat intuitively. And I'm like, dude, no, that's not how it works. You yourself learned how to track, and that is why you are able to eat mindfully, which is what I like to call it. Mindful eating. That's why I don't call what I do intuitive eating, because I learned through tracking macros. And then that's how I'm able to do mindful eating without tracking now. It's so frustrating to me, man. I can't stand when I see people just like, oh, just eat intuitively, when they're talking to someone that has never learned how to track, they don't know anything about nutrition, and they want to lose 100 pounds. You're going to tell them to eat intuitively? Get out of here. Get out of here, dude.
All these people tracked calories for probably years. And now they say they intuitive eat. You can't bullshit me. Intuitive eating implies that you're just eating without knowing how many calories you're really consuming, and you're just relying off your internal hunger and satiety cues. And that's not actually true. You can't erase that knowledge. You just know. Here's the goal here. Once you know what foods contain what kind of calories, you can start to kind of mix and match and have fun with your daily diet. If you've never tracked calories or weighed your food before, you likely have no clue how much you're actually consuming. It's a really good exercise to learn about what works for you. All you gotta do is...
This is so true, and it seriously blows my mind when people it's like they forgot that they tracked for so long. And I'm like, why do you think you know this information about calories and macros and what works for you? Why do you think you know that? It's not some thing that sprouted out of nowhere. It's because you spent years learning. It'd be like someone that has a PhD being like, yeah, I don't know. You just have to kind of learn about the human body and just kind of intuitively know about it. It's like, well, what about the years and years of school that you went through to have that PhD? And it's like, oh, yeah. That also might be a little bit important. Come on. How do you...
Is go to your app store, download a free application called MyFitnessPal. You can even add me as a friend. My name is Juliana Crispo, and see what I eat on a daily basis. Then head on over to Amazon and pick up a food scale. I'll link one below for $10. Start weighing and tracking your food for a few weeks and see what works for you. Now, since we're talking about fat loss here specifically, a good ballpark to find your weight loss calories is to take your current body weight times 11, and that's gonna give you a number that you can aim for in terms of your weight loss calories on a daily basis. If you start with those calories, you'll see the weight come off pretty quickly.
So this, I'm like, I don't know, because I weigh 210, so that'd be what? 25? I don't know. I'm really bad with math, but it'd be under 3,000, and I can definitely eat. If I were to eat 3,000 calories, I would lose weight right now, for sure. So that's why I am more a fan of just going to tdecalculator.net. I'll link it down in the description, which that is something you can enter all your information, your height, sex, weight, activity level, a bunch of stuff, and then it'll give you more exact numbers. They're not perfect. It's just an online calculator, right? It's free, but I highly recommend doing that. It's a little bit more accurate, and I feel like you get a little bit more bang for your buck. Just word to the wise, if you do end up using it, there's a ton of other information they give you. Just focus on the calories that it says to lose weight, right? That's my There's like tons of other, like they give macros in the bottom, and don't worry about any of that. Just focus on how many calories it says to lose weight, and then you'll be good to go from there. That's personally what I think is a little bit more of an accurate way to do it.
The general rule, you never want to go below 1,200 calories, even if the equation says to do that, because you risk losing muscle and hurting your metabolism, which hurts your ability to lose fat. So just don't go there. Tip number 5, get yourself some go-tos to curb cravings. I actually recommend giving into your cravings every once in a while. My philosophy on cravings is just work the things you crave into your daily diet. That way you never ever feel deprived. If you're somebody that
I agree with this. I just do want to say it's easier said than done with that, especially if you're, someone that's been where I've been, or you've been really, really overweight. It can be really difficult to get to that point. But I do personally think that is the end goal. I just want to say, if you are someone that feels like that's so far out of, like, there's just no way that you could do that, right? You have a piece of chocolate, you have a piece of pizza or something, and you're like, oh my God, I can't control this. I've always said it's okay to cut things out for a little bit if you feel like you can't control it, right? But eventually, I think it's smart to try and add those things back into your diet, because I don't want anyone to ever think they can never have these foods that they enjoy. But just understand, like, don't think about pizza as a bad thing. Again, at the start, if you want to cut it out, that's totally fine. I have no issues with that at all. Honestly, I really don't care. But if you want to start adding it in, don't think every time you had pizza, oh, I did so bad. I added a bad food in. Just be like, okay, I had pizza that was X amount of calories. All right. Like, and then you don't think of it as you did a bad thing or you ate a bad thing. You had pizza, and then you move on from it. You just move on. Just like you would move on if you had a salad. You wouldn't be like, oh, can't believe I had that salad. You just move on. Don't dwell on it. Don't focus on it. Again, at the start, if you want to cut things out, I'm not saying don't do that. If you feel like that will help you, by all means do it, right? By all means. But eventually, if you want to add that in, that is how I have found is the best way to add in these foods that maybe you are a little afraid of at the start. And there's nothing wrong. I personally think there is nothing wrong with admitting to yourself that you're afraid of a certain food. It doesn't make you weird. It makes you human. And it is what it is.
That loves to have a glass of wine every day, figure out how to fit your glass of wine into your calorie deficit. I'm someone that likes to eat Oreos every single day, so I fit Oreos into my diet every single day. But let's pretend that you don't want to track macros, or maybe you hit your calorie deficit for the day, but you still have a craving for cake. This is where we can talk about that. So one of my favorite ways to reduce cravings, legit, this whole thing of strawberries is like 180 calories. You could eat this whole thing and not really do much damage to your diet. You'd still probably make progress on your fitness goals and satisfy a big craving by eating a ton of strawberries.
Berries is dope. I mean, I'm going to be real, like, berries does not equal cake, right? I think we all know that. But again, that's when you know how many calories are in certain things, you can make these choices, and maybe you don't feel, like, because a lot of people might think, oh, I can't eat that many strawberries. That's so much sugar. That's so much this. But like, if you were like, okay, it's 180 calories. So you eat the whole carton, and you're like, I don't even want cake anymore. I don't even want, right? Like, that's why learning how to track is so helpful, because you're able to see, oh, okay, so if I had this big amount of food, oh, it's actually really low calorie and high volume. And so I ate all of that, I'm full, but I didn't even eat that many calories, right? Like, that's only things that you can learn through tracking. Like, that's...
Other thing I do is you can take ice drinks. My favorite is like the blackberry. I would pop those in the freezer for 30 minutes, take it out, and it's kind of like a slushie. Tip number 6, take a break from exercise until you master your deficit first. This is what I see people do all the time. They'll buy a Peloton, they'll try all these workout classes, they'll do all these swipe workouts, and they're exercising and they're eating, and they're like, what am I doing wrong? I'm exercising.
This is such a good point. This is why I always say, weight loss happens in the kitchen, fitness happens in the gym. One more time. Weight loss happens in the kitchen, fitness happens in the gym. Focus on your diet. Focus on the stuff that is going into your mouth if weight loss is the most important thing to you. I'm not saying don't work out. I work out all the time. I freaking love it. I really enjoy it a lot. But like, if you are trying to lose weight and you feel that exercise is making you hungrier, because it does, and you feel like it's making it a little bit more difficult, maybe take a little bit of time off of exercising, or just go on walks or things that are not as intense, that don't make you feel so ravenously hungry at the end of that exercise.
Exercising, they're probably still eating at maintenance calories or at surplus calories, therefore not burning any fat. So what I recommend in those instances is take 1 up to 2 weeks to just get your calorie deficit down. Now, if you're thinking, Juliana, I can't take time off from exercising, I'm gonna lose all my gains. There's been some studies on this, and you can spend up to 2 weeks not training before you start losing gains. And that's assuming you're not on like bed rest.
The reality is you don't even need exercise to lose fat. Just eat in a calorie deficit. Cardio activity is just a tool to make it go faster, and strength training is what gives your body shape so you don't get skinny fat.
Tip number 7, take advantage of something called diet breaks. What's a diet break, Juliana? That sounds really fun. It is. So I define a diet break as a period of time where you are not eating at your deficit calories anymore, your body weight times 11. You're eating at your maintenance calories. In order to find
Important, okay? Listen to what she just said, okay? You don't eat at your deficit, you eat at your maintenance, okay? So there's not going to be that huge of a difference between those numbers. It's not stop being in a deficit and eat as much as you want and eat like an a-hole and just do whatever, right? That's not what is being said here. Eat at maintenance, which is going to be more food for sure, but it's not going to mean you can go out and eat every meal of the day. You can just eat cake, and like there's a very big difference between those things, okay?
in maintenance calories, you take your current body weight times 16. That will give you a good ballpark of how many calories you need to eat on a daily basis to maintain your current weight.
So again, if that is a little confusing, when you track your TV on that website that I mentioned, it'll give you maintenance calories as well. So you just go back to that.
You want most of these additional maintenance calories to come from carbohydrates. And the reason is that there's a good body of research to show that increasing your carbohydrates and kind of going back up to maintenance for a few days really helps reset your hunger and fat burning hormones, so that when you actually go back into dieting again, you can take advantage of that hormone reset. I dieted.
The keto crowd right now is frothing at the mouth. Unbelievable.
Down from this to this. And then I decided to go on a diet break because I wanted to enjoy the holidays and my birthday and all this stuff. And the diet break really worked for me. In these photos, my weight actually increased 2 pounds on the right because I was able to add some muscle while losing fat at my maintenance calories. Tip number 8, set a deadline and write down your why in your phone. This is all about motivation. So for me, when I started, my deadline was Christmas time. I wanted to look good for pictures. I wanted some memory.
So a couple things. So on that last point, I want to make it clear, she's been a bikini professional. She's done bodybuilding shows. She has a lot of muscle. So these things, you going on a diet break, you will probably not see results like that. I'm just going to be honest, right? I'm not trying to be mean, but you probably don't have the base of muscle that she has. That adds a ton of, that helps a lot. The more muscle, this is why I'm a fan of strength training and lifting, not because it's going to make you lose weight faster, but it will add muscle, the more muscle you have, the more calories you can consume. It just helps, right? But I just want to make that very clear because I think people might see that and think, oh, a diet break is what I need to do and I should look just like her. It's just maybe pump the brakes a little bit. You're not going to look exactly the same as that.
I wanted to enjoy the holidays without thinking too much about food. If you don't have a clear why and a deadline, I'd encourage you to get one. Tip number.
So, and then with that, I think a why is important. A deadline, for me, I've never been a huge fan of them when it comes to losing weight. The only reason is because most of the time people set unrealistic expectations for themselves. So it's I want to lose all of this weight in 8 weeks. I want to have lost 40 pounds in 8 weeks. And it's you probably could do that, but it would be incredibly unhealthy and incredibly unsustainable, right? Or you might not even be able to do that, and then you feel like a failure, right? So I'm not a huge fan of setting dates and timelines. I'm more a fan of figure out a new lifestyle for yourself, and things will happen from that lifestyle change, right? I understand where she's coming from. She's more coming from someone that's maybe just trying to lose 20, 30 pounds that they've gained over, a short period of time. But I'm coming from the fact like someone that's been obese their entire life and they don't know any other way. That's why I'm not a huge fan of setting these deadlines, because the deadline will come and go, but that shouldn't change how you are acting and the way that you are eating, if that makes sense.
Number 9 is join the gallon a day clubs. I know we see those guys at the gym with the cutoff shirts and carrying around the gallon of water, and it looks kind of douchey, and I get it. You don't want to be that guy. So what I do, and I sit at a desk all day, is I will drink 2.
Dog, that thing is a weapon. All right? That thing, whew.
Of these 64-ounce bottles of water. I'll drink 1 before lunch and 1 before dinner. And what this does for me is it makes sure that I am feeling a little bit more full when I go into lunch and dinner. Now, there's a lot of benefits to drinking water. 1, it's great for your skin. It makes you feel more energized. It's good for your internal organs. Just force yourself to try it. Get a cute water bottle. Now, if you're like, hey, Juliana, I want to drink water, but I would be peeing too much. I hear ya. But if you think about it, peeing is like a free squat. Like every time you go down, so you're getting your exercise in and you're drinking water. It's great.
So I don't disagree, but I feel like people are gonna get mad at me, but sometimes I feel like people put too much emphasis on drinking just like a ton of water. I think like having enough water is important, but there isn't that many benefits from what I've seen from like drinking an obscene amount of water. Like, you're just going to make yourself pee a lot. Like, there's a point where there's no more benefit. It's not like the more water you drink, the more benefits you get. Like, there's a certain amount of water that you should probably have every day. But then just going over that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm getting more and more. And it gets to a point where it's like, now these benefits have ended and now you're drinking a ton of water and just making yourself pee all the time. Again, not saying you shouldn't drink water, but just like forcing yourself to drink 15 gallons of water a day.
Number 10 is to monitor your sleep. What happens when you're sleepy is your hunger hormones and satiety hormones get a little bit out of whack, so you're more susceptible to overeating on the days when you're extra tired. I wear a Fitbit Charge.
This is so important right here. So sleep is one of the most important things. I mean, I personally haven't been getting the best sleep recently, and I am feeling the effects of it. But sleep, like I've had people ask me like, oh, you say that calories in, calories out is the main thing when it comes to weight loss. That is true, but sleep affects your decisions. It affects how you feel. It affects your satiety levels and all of those things. If all of those things are off, you will feel more hungry, and most likely you will eat more calories. So therefore your calories will be off, right? So it's not like because you didn't sleep enough, you're gaining weight, but it's because you didn't sleep enough. Now you're more hungry. You have less willpower. You're more irritable. You're down. Like you're just more likely to just go and have that thing. And then therefore now your calories are no longer in a deficit. And that's why you're not losing weight. So it's not like you don't sleep enough, you don't lose weight. It's like you don't sleep enough, all of these other things happen that mean you eat a little bit more calories and therefore you don't lose weight.
Because it's pretty good at tracking sleep. I just make sure that on the days that I am sleep deprived, I know that it's not necessarily real hunger. It's more so like tired hunger. So when I have a night where I only get like 3 hours of sleep because I'm up with my baby, I just know like, hey, maybe I'll drink more water today. Maybe I will eat a little bit more, but I'm just aware. Tip number 11 is to increase your NEAT. What does NEAT stand for, Juliana? Non-activity thermogenesis. Yeah, that's what it stands for.
Yeah, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, is one of the most important things. And so many people think, oh, if I want to lose weight, I need to increase my activity. That means I need to go to the gym more. I need to go on a run. I need to do all of these things. It can mean just going on a few more walks, maybe parking a little bit further in the parking lot, like just increasing the amount of steps that you're taking, standing instead of sitting. All of these little things add up, right? And it adds up to a good amount of calories burned throughout the day.
NEAT is just like the calories you burn when you're not exercising. You're like fidgeting, you're using your hands, you're making weird motions with your body. That stuff increases NEAT. Now, how I keep track of NEAT right now is I just wear a step counter. Typically, if you're hitting about 10,000 steps a day, you're burning about 500 more calories than if you're at rest. Tip number 12 is pick up a hobby that uses your hands. This one's for the snackers out there. I used to be a big snacker. I try to avoid snacking to frivolously, is that the right word for this scenario? Frivolously? I don't know. One way to do that is by picking up a hobby. You could get into video games. I don't know if that's really a productive hobby, but that would keep you occupied with your hands. You could start
Nothing wrong with video games, all right?
getting into making clothes, coloring books, gardening, playing an instrument. You could get into video editing like I am now. Pick up some kind of productive hobby that uses your hands so you have something to do when you want to snack.
It like uses your hands, and but also I think more importantly, it uses your mind, right? It takes your mind off of, oh, I'm hungry or I'm bored, to now I am actually doing something, right? I am knitting, I am drumming, I am skateboarding, I am whatever, playing a video game, and I'm just like not eating as much. I mean, that's a little bit harder just because a lot of people when they play video games they snack, but like there are, yeah, just like something that will make your brain think about anything other than I'm just hungry, right? If you're just sitting watching Netflix thinking I'm hungry, it's pretty easy to be like, I'm just gonna go get a little snack and just gonna hang out in the kitchen real quick. Oh, what's this? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sitting down again. Oh no, I have a bowl of chips. Whoopsies.
Tip number 13 is master your stress reducers. I am a big stress eater. I have a stressful job. I live in Silicon Valley where everyone is stressed out. I need to master how I reduce stress when I am confronted with stress. I'll go for a walk. I'll take a bath. I would say for stress reducing, you probably want to stay off Instagram and TikTok. That's not the best way to bring down your cortisol levels, if you know what I'm saying. That's it for this video. My channel is brand new here. I'm just getting
So that's the video. I highly recommend that you guys check her out. So like I said, her channel is Hey It's Juliana. I'm pretty sure that's how it's said. There will be a link in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But yeah, I feel like for the most part, those were really great tips and actually useful things. A lot of times when people make these weight loss videos, it's like these like weird mindset things that I'm like, that's not really gonna help someone. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but a lot of times like just be dedicated or like I'm like, well, I don't know about that, but these were all like really actual tips, right, that are actually helpful. So yeah, really great video. I think I really like what she was saying.